As a sophomore in high school, I went to 5 a.m. football workouts 3 times a week for basically the entire school year because I wanted to become a stronger and just like a better athlete. And I remember always having this morning ritual. I would wake up with my alarm at like 4:15 a.m. I would get out of bed and be kind of excited because it's like it's time to lift, let's go. And maybe it was max day so I could hit my max squat of like 235. I was a lot weaker back then. um I thought I was the shit, bro. But I would wake up and I would be excited to go. I would start making my breakfast every single morning. It was this mug like protein pancake, just like protein pancake mix that my mom bought, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this is gonna be awesome." So I would mix like a cup of the flour. I would mix in some milk, like maybe crack an egg in there, and mix it up. It become this like batter, and then I'd throw some chocolate chips in there. I'd microwave it for like 2 minutes or something, let it cook. It would I would always put like too much in there, so it almost start overflowing. I was always getting to like the maximum that I could actually put in there, and then after all of that was said and done, I would go ahead and either put like syrup on top as I was eating it, or I would put brown sugar on top and eat that before every single time. And basically every morning, but like even whenever I wasn't doing the 5 a.m.s, that was my breakfast basically every single morning. This sugary confection, dude. Like this sugary thing, this bowl of sugar, dude. Like it was a ton, like there wasn't a ton of sugar in the pancake mix, but it was still a lot of carbs in there. Obviously, there's gonna be some added sugar. There was the sugar from the milk, which in of itself probably isn't the worst part of it, but nonetheless, I would throw milk chocolate chips in there, right? Not like the dark chocolate with low sugar, right? Milk chocolate with the sugar in it. And then I'd add more with the freaking brown sugar, which is if you don't know what brown sugar is, I think it's just like it's basically like molasses, which again is just sugar. It's like a different form of it, basically. Or I would add maple syrup in there. Again, sugar, right? And there would maybe be like 20 grams of, um, not even 20 grams of protein in there, something like that. And there'd be like 80 grams of carbohydrates and probably over 50 of that was sugar. Like it was just absolutely absurd what I would have every single day. And just looking back at that, dude, I'm just thinking like, holy crap, dude. That is insane. I was an absolute sugar fiend. Like just looking back at that, and basically for the majority of my life, I was an absolute sugar fiend. I mean, that was my breakfast. Imagine what I was having for lunch or for dinner. Actually, dinner most of the time was pretty good because my mom is the best, and so she makes typically like pretty good stuff. Like she'll make like a stew or a roast, and it's very nice. I'm actually very grateful for that. But like my lunch would be classic school lunch. Some weird like chemically made bread with like a weird chicken bun, right? And then I would maybe get like a crispy treat along with that, or like an ice cream bar. And then I would have dessert. I would have maybe another protein pancake mug, bro, or just like a mug, like one of those mug chocolate cakes that you can make. Or I had ice cream. I had a lot of sugar growing up. Like I was like a absolute sugar fiend, and now I don't have any. So it's actually very stark difference now compared to how I was back then. It's really interesting actually, but I'm just thinking back, like, I was such a sugar fiend, dude. Like, I was literally like a drug addict for sugar. You know, before soccer games, I would have I would have this like honey and like like drizzle it into my, like, you know, like the honey bottles, like drizzle it into my mouth, and you know, like candy bars right before games, and just kind of like this like weird like gremlin energy from just having sugar. It's kind of weird looking back at that, because I don't do that anymore. I don't have any sugar. Like I've actually quit completely. Like I don't I don't eat any sugar anymore. And I feel a lot better. My life has significantly improved because I've quit that weird addiction. And that's why I'm making this video, is because I just want to share with you why I don't eat sugar anymore, why and how like I beat my sugar addiction, that sort of thing. Because I think it's actually a really important thing, especially nowadays. More people are kind of waking up to the fact that like sugar's not actually good for you, and it's actually kind of a drug. Basically, is, whenever you think about it, it's this kind of like addictive, lights up your dopamine, ultra tasty. You get withdrawals if you've been having it for a while and you go cold turkey. I can tell you a lot about that. Freaking withdrawals, bro. Um, but yeah, that's why I'm making this video. It's because I think this is an important topic, and so yeah, I think my younger self could have really benefited from quitting earlier. But yeah, my name's Keegan, and I talk about like diet and fitness and whatnot. So if you want to go subscribe and support me, then do that right now. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah. Anyways, I quit sugar in about a year ago. A little bit less than a year ago. I made it a commitment to not eat any more sugar. And it was actually really difficult the first few weeks whenever I was trying to like transition out of it. And so this is where the withdrawals kind of come in. I remember I made a decision like, okay, I'm not going to have any sugar. I'm going to stop this nonsense. And I had these kind of like drug like withdrawal symptoms. It wasn't anything bad like alcohol or like you know, like more like hard drugs. It wasn't anything like that, but you could definitely feel kind of this intense craving for that drug. Like you can imagine some drug addict who hasn't had their like pill or whatever, or their drink in a while, and they're kind of getting that like itchy look to them, like that itchy nervous look. If you've ever seen that, if you've ever seen like a weird like one of those vape fiends, bro, like a if you're around my age, you might know what I'm talking about. Like there's some kids who, if they haven't vaped in a while, like they'll be sitting in class and they'll be kind of like they'll be kind of like uncomfortable, like moving around, like tapping their leg, kind of jittery almost, and they're just kind of going through that withdrawal because they just haven't hit the thing in a while. They haven't gotten that spike in like dopamine for a while, and that's kind of how I felt whenever I was first quitting sugar. It wasn't the same, but I still had that weird like almost antsy feeling of like I want the sugar. I want it like like again the gremlin energy, like I need it. It's just kind of funny looking back. But I think you get what I mean with that. It's just kind of this like weird gremlin energy. And I would look at something that was sweet, maybe a fruit or a candy or honey, something like that, and I would have this like intense craving. My brain was like yelling at me like, have it, you must have it. But I mustered up enough willpower, and I just kind of just like ignored that and just focused on eating like real food that didn't have sugar in it. And that actually helped me a lot in getting past the kind of like the cravings and the like withdrawal like symptoms. And I actually got past it pretty quickly, just because like I ignored it and I just focused on other things a lot whenever I was transitioning out of that. And since I got past those cravings, I've not had those cravings reappear like ever. sometimes I'll kind of get this like nostalgia. I'd be like, I wonder would it be like if I had this thing or that thing. But whenever I think about it for more than 5 seconds, it really becomes unappealing to me. And I just think to myself, okay, that would probably be like really tasty. Like the other day, my mom, or a couple weeks ago for Christmas, it's like late January now, but a month ago, we'll say actually, my mom made some like cinnamon rolls for Christmas. It's kind of like a tradition we have, right? And I looked at those and I was considering it, it's like traditions, whatever. She doesn't make them that often, so I'd be like, oh, it's not that big a deal. But I just looked at it and I was like, it's tasty, sure, but at what cost? Because I always think back to that time whenever I was eating a lot of sugar, having that like gremlin like energy, all the other negative symptoms that I had whenever I was eating a ton of like not only processed sugar, but just sugar in general from like even like fruits and whatnot. Just kind of like brain fog, lethargicness, up and down energy. I just think back to the time and just like, sure, it'll be tasty, but at what cost? At what cost to me? Right? Is it worth the, like the 5 minutes of pleasure that I get whenever I'm eating this? Because I don't think it is anymore. I don't think it's worth it. And so that's kind of what I think about now is, I just don't see it as a worthwhile trade to, do the drug again, basically. Because it just gives me all those downsides, even if it gives me like that little boost of energy, like, oh, like that stimulation. I don't think it's worth it anymore. And so that's a majority of the reason why that I don't eat those foods anymore. That's why I don't have sugar anymore. Yeah. But overall, another reason why I don't eat sugar is I think it's just given me a lot more confidence, a lot more freedom in life. I always had this kind of like weird dependency almost. Like, how people, they say you can get like chemically dependent on caffeine and coffee and whatnot. I feel like I almost had that with sugar. It was like this like weird drug like compulsion to eat more, to have more of this thing. And that's something that I just don't like feeling. I don't like feeling kind of like this weird compulsion to do anything really. Like it's not I just don't think that's like a super healthy thing to be kind of just like driven and not really understanding why you're driven to have more and it's making you feel worse, but you're still wanting more. Does that make sense? Like I don't know. It's just I feel like overall by quitting it is actually giving me a lot more freedom. Like some people will say like, "Oh, you need to live a little. You need to have this. You need to have that." Like they're making a case for like freedom. Like, "Oh yeah, like you're free to eat whatever you want. Like it's fine. It's not going to kill you." But I think that's a poor way of looking at it because I think sugar isn't very beneficial for my health. I don't think it's beneficial for anyone's health really. And if you think in like the long term, how much freedom is it going to give you to be overweight, to be obese, to be unhealthy? How much freedom is that really? And how much freedom is it to be healthy, but you don't have any of the unhealthy stuff? Like life is about trade offs. And I've just found that I find more freedom in being a healthy and, more stable individual than a carb addicted gremlin that a lot of people are nowadays. And so that's just my take on it anyways. And another thing is just I found that I have more confidence now in what I do, what I say, in a lot of areas of life because I've conquered this one thing that troubled me for a while in my life. I think if you're this far into the video, you'll probably relate to me a lot and just maybe you struggled with diet for a decent while in your life. And maybe now you're just now overcoming that. Like it gives you a lot of power to know that like, okay, I can actually control this factor now. And I think it kind of leaches into other areas of life. Like, okay, how else can I control these factors or, what else can I do to make things better? I think it just gives you a lot more confidence to be like, okay, I did it here, I can do it there, and just kind of gives you evidence that you can do the things that you say you're going to do. Like if you say, I'm going to quit sugar, I'm going to quit this weird drug that everybody has, like caffeine, right? I'm going to quit this thing and stick to it. And whenever you do that and you do the thing that you say you're going to do, it gives you confidence because it gives you evidence of doing that thing. Does that make sense? And so that's why I think that's some of the other kind of like abstract reasons why I don't eat sugar anymore and why I continue to not eat sugar. It's just because, you know, I believe that it makes me a healthier human being for avoiding it. And it just gives me confidence because I know that I've conquered it. So yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't eat sugar anymore. So I would say if you made it this far and you're still a carb addicted person and you want to stop, just try it. Like it'll be difficult. It is difficult in the beginning. You'll have your brain yelling at you saying, "Oh, like you must have this thing." But I promise you, if you just stick to it and eat real food and just avoid the sugary nonsense, then your life is going to be much better and you'll get through it. Just don't eat that many carbohydrates that's going to like re-addict you to it. And I think it's going to work out. I think it'll work out, but you have to stay strict to it. Otherwise it's going to just perpetuate. And I'm lucky enough that I just made a commitment and I stuck to it. I didn't cheat. I didn't have any of this nonsense because I think if I did, I would be stuck in that perpetual cycle. So glad I'm where I'm at now. So I would just encourage you to try it out. Just try removing sugar from your life for a week, 14 days or whatever, right? Just try cutting that out of your life and see how you feel. Like I think it would give you a lot of benefits. And if not, and you end up going back, maybe you will at least see the kind of like drug-like compulsion that you may have. I think that's one of the biggest things that I experienced was just seeing that, you know, the full force of that whenever I completely removed it was very eye-opening. And that's another reason why I guess I completely just don't eat sugar anymore. It's just of that it's crazy. I think you get what I mean from that. I hope you do anyways, but yeah, those are my words of wisdom. Don't give up, keep going, and experiment with your diet. See what works for you. But yeah, if you like what I'm saying, again, you should go subscribe if you want to support me. That'd be epic. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.